Alrighty, we're back for part 2 of a Happy Alohas Friday stream here for October 17th. I have been hitting the old man fail stream, like the third rail of my Twitch, streams here is when I somehow touch that third rail and everything goes to pot. So yeah, I was just made aware of that. I forgot to refresh my, well, it doesn't matter. I did it and I take credit for it. But I did reload my specialty. My specialty. So, but we're going to continue on. Let's go ahead and let's get ourselves continuing on here with our redemption. Next up is J2 Juiced. What? Bruh. A little quite the mahalo for the dono there. That's a shockadoobies, my friend. Thank you so much. This is extraordinary game, Xenoblade. Where is Juiced, by the way? Juiced, are you here? Please be here, Juice. That I'm going to do your dono right now, is what I'm saying. There you are. How are you? God, my goodness, thank you so much. That was quite the jump there in my dono nation there. So J2 Juiced. There's got to be some kind of different way that really means J2 Juiced or Jatao Juiced. I don't know. There's got to be a hidden like something here. Oh, it built up. Oh, I see. Yeah, my bad for not refreshing the forum. Sorry about that, brah. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Anyhow, well, here you are, and mahalo for hanging out and everything. So this is a battle theme that was composed by Ace, a musical duo conspired of Tomori Kudo and Hiroyo Yamanaka, better known as Chico. For me, it has a very heavy disco and jazz fusion influence with its strings, piano, and bass. So this is a game battle, and so are we ready to do this, everybody? This is J2 Juiced, or just Juice. Call you Juice? I'll call you the Juice. And this is from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, A Formidable Enemy. You guys ready to do this? I am. Let's go, is what I'm saying. Here we go. God, I love that the melody is really is fronted by the strings. You're right. I think these guys, this composers, this duo must have listened to Caldera at some point in their life. Man, that bass player's working overtime. So there's a string and a lead of the guitar that's behind that. Oof. Yeah, the bassist is owning this whole track. Yeah, the bass player's taking a breather here, hitting whole notes. Turn on the burners. Jesus. And I know he has nothing to do with it, but I say his name in game, not in vain. Jesus. My burrito's not even settling in, man. I'm sorry, guys. The first thing I got to say about this is whoever that bass player was is just mind-numbing. That bass player didn't get a second to chill. They were right in the middle. There was a little area there where he did do some whole notes, maybe to get his fingers to go, "You got it, boys. You got it, boys." But he was constantly just hammering at that thing, 16th, just slapping, cooking, frying through that whole thing. The other thing about this track, Juice, that I really loved is the emphasis of the melody was handled by the strings. A lot of times in fusion tracks and stuff like that, strings can have very unique arrangements. It can stand on its own and answer a call, kind of secondary level melodic work. But the fact that this was really the kind of, meat and potatoes of the melody was all handled by the strings. But it was supported, funny enough, the other way, sometimes it's the other way around, but it was supported by an electric guitar was in the back, like not too bad of a fuzzy tone, was following what the strings were doing, kind of filled in a little bit of the center in the listening experience. But I really love the fact that the strings actually took the lead in this. And again, once again, I can repeat myself until the day I die or until I only have 2 more streamers because people are tired of hearing me repeat myself. It's just absolutely mind-numbing that, like, this track in of itself could stand on its own as a, contemporary fusion, kind of a jazz fusion track, and have its own sets of merits that have nothing to do with the video game. And the fact that the video game industry is so supportive or so keen on having this kind of music is, to me, one of the more important things on why I think gamers as a whole have an extraordinarily wider, broader music appreciation. I've met a few people that we've listened and we talked, and they say, they really don't like the music in the game, but it doesn't mean that they didn't like that genre of music. It would be more of that, maybe that music just didn't match the element of the gameplay, of the experience of the gamer. But just to know that this music is completely constructed for a gaming, I listen to this and I go, this fucking wow, is all I got to say about that, is what I'm going to say. All right, let's see what else we got coming up here. Next up is is TJ Jambor, and we're going to be listening to some Starcraft, the game OST, and the name of the song it says here in this message, "Time to be a spacey cowboy." I'm just trying to stay out of the muck of being a spacey Jeebs. I can't seem to talk straight right now. I'm like, bleh. So here we go. Let's go. What'd I say? Who is TJ? Did I do a dyslexic move again? Sorry. Okay, so we're going to be listening from the game StarCraft. The name of the song is Terran 1. Let's go. Went in a different direction. It's got a little bit of a Metallica thing to it, even from the opening to this. You just have to replace the horn section with a guitar part, and that's where you kind of dig into it a little bit. Yeah, is this game in the 90s? I really like the choice of the sound that they're using to emulate the 12-string. Trippy. 1998, okay. Oh my God, that old sample crunch. Can you hear that in the back there, Alman? How it changes the tone when you... Oh, okay, I can see that track being something like that. You know, gathering stuff. This part reminds me of a little bit of a section in Yes. I forget what song this is. But it's being played to try to give you the vibe of the strum there. I like the old school sappy synth as a pad back there. It's great. Yeah, you're right about that that kind of Rush vibe too, Zephin. Pitch bend wheeled on those acoustic tones. Super enjoyable track, man. The fact that it opened up in this closing with that same thing, I'm thinking maybe that's a loop point. You know, perhaps, I don't know if, you know, if you're gathering stuff for your battle and you know, if you run into anything or you time out, you know, within the length of this song. How long was the song? Almost 5 minutes. So I don't know if that's something that, like I said, it times out like and then fades into something, or actually, if you're not doing well at gathering something and you're stuck in a place or something, it'll recycle at that point, because that was like the beginning and the end were identical in the sense where I could see that being looped into if it needed to in order to continue to go. I thought, you know, as far as the track was concerned, I really loved the power of it and everything. I thought it was like, well, this must be a very punchy part of the game, even though you said they're just gathering things for, you know, future battles, because it still had kind of a mild anthemic call to action, like charge, you know, and so when I was in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the character is gathering things with friends or something like that, you know, to stock up and stuff like that. It definitely did have that keep you elevated and charged moving forward kind of vibe with it. But oh, it plays for the entire game. Oh, but not through the whole entire game, does it? Does this on repeat? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Wow, that's a trip. Or is this, or DJ, is this like the main theme track? And then it occasionally pops in the hot points. Like it's a repetitive, like, you know, during, you know, unique scenes or cut scenes, maybe this will play back in there. Something like that. That would make sense. And for me too, when I'm listening to it, and I know composers are using outboard gear or modules and stuff to emulate the guitar, the string guitar sounds, I always get a little smile on my face when they put in the bends, because they're trying to make it sound like you're bending a string. It just has a very classic, legendary sound to it. It's more nostalgic than anything. I'm not like out there to call it out saying, oh, this sounds like, no, it's just a very nostalgic sound. Okay, so plays as I'm doing is so that it just plays as you're doing things in the game. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I got you, DJ. I think I got it figured. All right, thanks, DJ, so much for chiming in and dropping in your track for us to gel on here at the Abbacado show here with the Cados. Next up, we have the Driver 458. The Driver 458 would like us to listen to I'm Back, he says. I've been a bit absent from the Abbacado show recently because I went through a phase where I wasn't really feeling any particular music. But now he's feeling Hendrix, Frankenreiter. Is that it? Frankenreiter is one of the artists that helped me get out of that jank. I found one of his tracks on an Instagram vid and was curious enough to find the song. Well done, marketing team. A cozy acoustic sounding track that I think pairs well with the autumn season. Oh, I like that. I do love the autumn season. I had a friend of mine while we were streaming text me some pictures. They're in Boston and all the trees are turning all the dopey colors, so that's really cool. So here we go, guys. This is Hendrix, Frankenreiter, and the name of the song is Within, coming from the Driver. Let's go. Super small, tight room drum sound. I love the double stop in the melody.
As I learn to live in this space, eternally know my place gets deeper.
Little Jack Johnson vibes.
Deeper. The time has come for everyone. Awake your soul, become free, become free. Alive in a special place, giving you blessings every day. To me, loving life and living right, with no bad vows in my life, yeah, my life, yeah. With every breath I take, soon I fade away.
I am such a fan of that tone of voice.
Nothing's on my mind, I always seem to find the truth within.
What a vibe, yeah? Oops, snuck in a little organ there, said my ex-wife.
Seems to stay the same. Moving moving towards a higher state, or we can feel it. We feel it.
Yeah, also John Mayer vibes for sure.
We're not here for long. Gotta listen loud.
I think John has a little bit more smokiness to this tone of his voice, but yes, very similar.
Back on. A witness of darkness calling the light.
Yeah, Ron Soundgarden asked a question. Is he related to Donovan?
Out of my mind. Enjoy life for where you got it. Tomorrow's never promised. No, no. With every breath I take, seem to fade away into the universe. When nothing's on my mind.
Such a buttery production for the hook here. A little bit of a Guthrie Govan vibe there on that bend. I know, right? That guitar tone.
Nothing's on my mind. I always seem to find the truth with it. With every breath I take,
and I love how the high end of the track is kind of sculpted off, maybe at about 11K.
I always seem to find the truth with it.
Oh, it's his son. That's badass. What a great track. That just totally made me drift off. I love everything about that track. I think, too, the warmer tones of the mix, like I had said earlier, I love the fact that it seems like there's a high shelf complete drop at about 11K, 12K, which takes off just a little bit of that brighter aspect of it. So it keeps it in a nice little buttery area. Wonderful production, excellent production as far as like bringing the hook to us by expanding, you know, the arrangements and giving us a full, you know, stereo image, you know, impression through it all. Very, very wonderfully in a kind of, that's what I'm looking for. In the same vein of Jack Johnson, in the same vein of John Mayer, in the same vein of his dad. You know, that tone is such a great place to be if that's your gitch as a musician, to have that coffee shop tone, you know, if you're playing at a coffee house or something, you know, very soft and smoky, and the unique dynamics of every bit of the performances, the guitar playing, the bass line, everything can really just, you feel it. You know, I'm a huge fan of this style. If I knew I could sing a little better, I would try, but you know, it's better off that I just listen here with you guys. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. That was a great track to drop on us. Okay, next up is Skeletank. Skeletank, is you here? Skeletank says that we must listen to a song called Fatal Obsession. I think the band is called The Midnight. Are you ready? There he is. Skeletank is present. Here's your song, my brother. Here we go. Wow, this is great. Like some 80s synthwave stuff. I'm loving this. I'm getting like the Jan Hammer vibes. is recent? Wow. Once again, the Emotion Heap frou-frou vibes here.
I hate the way you make me feel. Loving you is fatal. I saw the seeds in your heart start to bloom. Felt the strings in your body move.
So this is featuring Jupiter Winter.
It's just that once you've tasted flight, it's hard to spend the rest of your life back on earth, grinding gears, dreaming about better years. Ember eyes, you are my obsession. We live separate lives.
Oh, thank you, MP3. I didn't know.
Lessons you were in disguise.
They're both singing there.
The best parts of you. I just wanted something real. I hate the way you make me feel.
Thank you, so. One of the things that I love about this is that even though this was just recently released, that kick snare reminds me of the old, SP1200 or Lynn drum. It was like a purposeful decision to want to say, let's do it this way. You know, the main chord in the back that's happening is like a very wet EP with like a pad attached to it. Da, 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 da. That little arrangement back there too is really cool. Loving you is fatal. Right, Super Loco, that definitely has that. Especially if you have a recall to that sound. And kind of a retro, big hair days of the 80s, kind of, like a 1950s convertible down Sunset Boulevard into Sunset, like while somebody's holding your knob and stuff. I mean, changing gears for you. What do you think I say? Yeah, today's not a good day for me. When it comes to the cleanliness. See, that background pattern is very frou-frou in the style of the production, letting it just swim. And you know what else is beautiful about this track is that even with this fade, to me, that brings back the nostalgia. So as this producer, composer, arranger, produces this track and everything, there seemed to have been a decision or an emphasis on the decision to, have this kind of be pseudo retro synthwave vibe. That gives you that nostalgic thing that, like I said, the drum sounds definitely sounded like an older, like SP1200, which was, I believe, emulator. And the Linn drum machine and stuff like that. The very tight, very dry, you know, little punchy kick, but then the snare was big and fat, and they really just rinsed it with like a pretty wet small plate, just to give it that nice splashy sound. The main chords that were being played in the background behind the sax and the vocals, like I said, it sounded like it was a stacked or MIDI together. You know, you have the keyboard sound that's pretty wet, and they had a little pad behind it, so that gave it also that synthwave vibe. And there was always some little arpeggiation happening in the background. It would change colors, but that to me was part of that forward motion that we were getting, and I was just kind of, you know, janking around saying, hey, you know, this is, you know, driving down Sunset in a very old, like 1960s, you know, convertible or 50s convertible, you know, driving, you know, great vibe. And I guess you guys said it was fairly recently released, you know, so caught me off guard there. And also even the artwork, if you really look at the artwork, right, it is very, very retro looking, you know, the Midnight's insignia. And even the artwork that it's used, and even the font and stuff. So that, to me, was perhaps the composer has a bit of a love affair with that time zone or that era or something. But he did a phenomenal job of authenticity, but he's still yet making it his own, is what I'm saying. Misty Souls. Yeah, the sax was phenomenal. And I love when the sax was kind of pumping a little bit of that, you know, saltiness and that smokiness in a couple of the notes at the end. Or at the end of some of the phrases. Misty Souls, let's see what we got going here for Misty Souls. This is from an anime composed by Jean-Jacques Brunel by the British band The Stranglers. It's loosely based on the Count of Monte Cristo and retold in a futuristic setting 1,000 years into the future. I can't remember where this song played. It's been many years for me, but I keep going back to the soundtrack ever since. Hope you enjoy. Okay, is Misty here by any chance? Misty, there you are. How are you? You're probably doing a lot better than I am. I'm dying here. Anyhow, so Misty, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us. It's good to see you pop up here with the Kados on the donos as well. Wants us to listen to an anime. It's called Gankutsuou. Gankutsuou. Forget it. That's the anime. The name of the track is Anger, Edmond Kara no Tegami. I think I got that because it sounded a little more Italian. Let's go. Already a little menacing sounding. Casting a spell. Okay. I don't know, this is... If Black Sabbath had these tones back in the 70s, I think this is what some of the stuff they would do. It has that. You guys know what I'm about to mention, right? It does have Doom, definitely turn up. Definitely has the Doom vibes to it. But yeah, that bass, can you hear how knifey that bass is? But now that you said Doom turn up, my brain just went click. Totally. Phrygian tip jar. I think the tip jar's overflowing because of my poor language today. What was great about that last passage when the bass was staying on one note and acting as the pedal. I love that.
There's the bass.
I love the organ work back there. Listen to it. What a track. Fucking ballsy. Anime ballsy is what I'm talking about. That somebody just lit, I don't know, maybe that bass tone, maybe somebody by accident poked a hole in the 12-inch or something like that. Just hear that little fried, sizzly kind of thing going on there. Like I said, the organ didn't come in until halfway through, but I like the subtleness of where it came in, and you could start hearing it kind of growing in the top. The solo was really super like live, and what I mean by that is it wasn't like, it doesn't sound like it was manicured and punched in and stuff like that. It was like go, and the solo went running all the way through and through. I'm not saying that any solos that we hear now in modern time are all punched in and stuff, but it does happen, right? The history of solos. I mean, look, even Eddie Van Halen, and so like when Beat It came around, that was the era. Yeah, I was an engineer during that. That's the 80s. And, comping solos and stuff was something that, you just really didn't talk about, because you don't know what kind of work it takes, because the audience wants to imagine that the guitar player is playing this through and through. So, but, even, I don't know how many did, 14 tracks, and they comped it, So when I say it sounds like it's run through and through, you get that feeling that like, okay, here comes your solo, punch in, go. And it comes with a couple of clams every now and then, or unique volume things that happen, and it sounds really superhuman and everything. So, I know nowadays there are many guitar players that I love that have interviews and say, "No, are you kidding me? I work my solos out, and then sometimes I do something really cool, and I decide to keep it, and then I got to go back and learn that solo, note for note and dynamic for dynamic, which isn't not a bad thing either, because sometimes you never know what shows up, while you're doing your thing." So. Great track, and yes, I believe somebody else had said it earlier. Maybe Jakin said it when this was more boss fighty-ish in its vibe, but killer. Okay, Savage from Space. Where are you, Savage from Space? I'm bad at these. The band is great at the end. They're at ending their albums, and this is one of my favorites. They came up at the same time. And shared management in the early days with Sleep Token and Loathe. Also, I'm Irish time, so probably asleep by the time I get to this. Okay, well, Savage from Space, obviously I'll set this free on Twitch, and if it doesn't get DMCA blocked, you get to hear it. If not, obviously, It'll be on the YouTube channel. Okay, so we're doing this from Savage from Space, who is asleep right now in Ireland. So the track we're listening to is Angel in the Marble. The name of the band is Holding Absence. All right, first time for me on the learning of this band. You guys know this band? Let's go. Boo-boo.
Sacrifice, I am stemming the blood flow, hammer in hand, desperate to grow. In order to evolve, I made a chopping block a home, and I dodged away in myself.
Love his voice.
I'm chiseling until there's nothing left. Nobody can hit me.
I love that little arpeggiation pattern in the back. Oh, it disappeared. Wow. Ooh, what a voice. There's some muted guitar going on here, very lightly. This made my playlist. Not only the incredible sound, but you could just feel the passion, the authenticity of that singer. The song is heavily rinsed in ethereal ambient works. That long tailing off pads and reverbs, which I'm in love with. I'm glad they're giving you a little sneak at the patterns that are there with the acoustic guitar and this other muted thing going on.
I am a puzzle, I am a painting, I am a work of art in the making. Trust in your hand and trust in the process. I am a work of art in the progress. I learn from my flaws and I cut myself open, glued myself better, golden and broken. Now all I have left is a handful of hope and 1,000 laments.
God, I really dig this track.
Spoken, art of self-destruction guiding my hand. I'll merge the man that I was hoping I could be with the man that I know that I am. The noble art of self-destruction guiding my hand.
That was nice. I love that, the answer back with the synth. Brilliant.
I am a puzzle, I am a painting, I am a work of process. I am a work of art in progress. I learn from my flaws and I cut myself open, build myself better, golden and broken. Now all I have left is a handful of open, 1,000 laments that I can't leave unspoken. And all out of self-destruction guiding my hand. Always the man that I was hoping I could be, with the man that I know that I am. And all out of self-destruction guiding my hand.
See if there's a little answer back there with that synth. Oh, this guy's voice. Jesus. Wow, that was just an unbelievable track. It made my playlist. Oh, Lasson's Muse, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, when you said that, you know, they're also in the same management as Sleep Token, I could hear it, I could see it, you know. I could see the partnership and maybe the unison work, maybe supporting each other on tours or whatever the case is. Usually management, when they have, you know, one of something, they usually don't bundle up behind it with the same kind of, you know, unless they have a particular vision of getting bands that sound similar. But I got to tell you something. I prefer this over Sleep Token. I think there was a lot more emotion and a lot more production value in it. When I say I like it more than Sleep Token, I'm not saying that it's better. I'm just saying my earballs vacillate towards this particular kind of structure, because I think what it is that I was sold a little more on the vocals. You know, the Sleep Token vocalist has a very unique, right, kind of sings with marbles in his mouth kind of a thing. He's got a very unique tone to his voice and is very eclectic with lyrics and stuff. But this made my playlist, and it's because of the fact that I can actually feel, you know, the emotions. Not only that I feel the emotions of the singer, but at the same token, this is a very favorite kind of style of music that I like. You know, as I'm flexing and changing in my journey of music, and I'm listening to more shoegaze now, and I do like Sleep Token quite a bit actually, because of their fused in a little more pop sounding, R&B sounding stuff, and you know, trap kind of work. In of itself, very different than what I just heard here, but there was something about this that really pulled strings for me. And I'm not talking about strings. I'm talking about like it really, God, there's just really unique parts of their production. I love the fact that they always had a little something in the background keeping you in check of a journey. You know, because it was a ding, go back, ding, go back. So that could be a little bit much, but if you got something in the background, it's just barely back there going, and it's just back there. It's such an important part of it. And there were some really great long-tailed tones in that, but his voice was epic. Notice one thing, though. Didn't hear any bass. Maybe it was me, and I'm, you know, basically burnt out. But I thought maybe if there was bass, it was just maybe more sticking very close to being unison chord changes, and maybe not stepping out of it or anything like that. But didn't bother me at all. It made the playlist. That's just me being me. Excuse me. I'm dying here. Anyhow, thank you so much. That was a beautiful track to bring to us. And like I said, it made the playlist, my personal playlist. Ryan Resolve. How are you, Ryan? Glad to be here. Are you still here with us by chance? Did you make it out here? Did you make it this long? You still hanging out? If you do, come in and say aloha. And, you know, if not, you know where you can find it. Once again, you know, my MooBot will pop off my YouTube channel momentarily. And of course, you can always join us in Discord. Okay, here we go, guys. So we don't have a message here except for glad to be here. And we're glad to have you here as well. The band is Blackshape. And the name of the track is Don't Worry About Pronouncing This. I don't know if that's really the name of the band or if he was just giving me a heads up going, brah, I'm not even going to make you pronounce this. So let's see if I'm getting rickrolled here because I don't have the capabilities. Let's go. Yeah, I'm not pronouncing this. ITIIITIIHYLIHYL. Yeah, I'll highlight it for you and I'll put it in the chat. This was the name of the song, guys. Almost seems like I was cleaning my keyboard. Love that. What great separation there with the guitar tracks. This made my playlist. It would seem like 3 guitars, but like that's one is doing that. Maybe there's an overdub there, but oh, brah. Sorry, I wasn't ready for that. She took it all out of him. Frickin' A. I don't know, I think she was chasing the orange. Oh, I can't lean on my keyboard. Lyrics.
If this is all there is, I hope you live. I hope you live.
Beautiful engineering.
If there's
A little more of her reverb is leaning on this side, while this guitar owns the whole left side with the side chain. Excellent.
still, I hope you live.
intense track. Wow, what an abrupt ending. Holy smokolies. Well, so I'm going to ask probably a pretty bad question here. Is this young lady actually the artist and the lead singer in this, or was, I don't know if this was performed and that's, you know, an actress that's mimicking it because of the production, but that first half of the track, I'm all in. It's like 2 in a row of being, you know, landing on my playlist. As it lifted and got punched, I got a little sidetracked with a little bit of the violence there, which I understood it, you know, with the lyrics and everything, and it was very, very trippy to watch this go through. But as I'm listening to the track, the producer, musicians, whoever did all the arrangement or played, I really love the emphasis they really put on the engineering of it once again to give it that long washiness of reverbs. This was released a couple years ago, so we were already in it to win it as far as really using a lot of reverbs and stuff to give it very ethereal vibes. I think this merger between the ethereal vibes and metal or rock has been an absolute success. You know, I know you have to be a fan of that, of course. I mean, I know there's people who are just straight into, you know, no, just plug the two guitars, a bass, and drums. You know, one of the guitar players have to be a singer kind of stuff and just make it really straightforward. I'm just a big fan and always have been of the ethereal kind of vibes to this. Once again, I do want to, why I'm really leaning in a lot of the engineering, I think one of my favorite parts of the whole track, notwithstanding the musicianship and the arrangements and stuff, is that at one point the guitar on the left had its own snow globe of existence. So in other words, was a great sound, and it had like a really nice soft delay that led into a glassy kind of reverb, but it really stayed here. It stayed on this side. It didn't come across the stereo imaging. And then when her voice came in, more in a lullaby-ish style of singing and stuff, her voice was in the center, but the lean of the reverb was more to this side. So I thought that was magic. I thought that was just utter magic. But this was a great track. I don't know how to pronounce whatever this is, but I thought it was absolute fire, without a doubt. I guess this was 2021, even though it was put on YouTube 2 years ago. This was released in 2021 in Salt Lake. And so, oh, is that why somebody said something? I saw some kind of, somebody made a comment about Salt Lake City or something in the chat, or Mormon or something, that says, oh, is there a connection there? I don't know. Anyhow, what a great track. That's all I got to say about that. Okay. Next up is Caving 1021. Wants us to listen to a track. Sometimes it's a mad world, Jeebs. That's the only thing he says in his message. I don't know what that means to us, guys, but let's go. Let's see what this means to us. The name of the band is Harakiri or Harakiri? Harakiri For The Sky. And the name of the song is Mad World, coming to us from Caving 1021. Let's go. Was it me? Is it me or just the snare that sounds like a little blanketed? Does it come across that way to you guys in your cans? Oh yeah, I recognize the track. Who was the original that did this? Oh, Tears for Fears. Which, of course, I thought in their time they were absolutely magical composers. Great songs they wrote. This is a really good cover. Really made it their own. This is great. Great build-up. Love this. Bloody scene coming up here. Well, when it comes time to do a cover, I mean, one of the most important things you want to do, though I'm not like a super knowledgeable person, as far as the construct of doing a cover, to further a career or to break yourself out, you do a cover that's recognizable. For me, when you do a cover, you want it to be as authentic as possible, still really, tipping the hat to the tune itself. But when you step out and make it your own, this is an excellent example of doing that. It's when we do covers, when anybody does a cover, it's extremely difficult. Already a cover has already made a massive impact. Somebody comes around and does the same thing. It's extremely difficult to do a cover and know that that cover is going to be remotely, dare I say, better or equal, because of the branding that cover has in our soundtrack of life. I went through that a couple times. I've done 2 covers, in my life. One was Comfortably Numb, where I did it kind of in a jazzy fusion. I was using sevenths and stuff, and the other one is Going to California. You know, my version of that was not really stepping away too much from the arrangement, except I was using an ukulele, and I actually add a fretless bass in Going to California. Whereas my cover of the Pink Floyd song, Comfortably Numb, I kind of stuck pretty close to the structure and everything, even with the, you know, the hook and everything. I just used different chord voicings, you know, and then at the end, I did a whole solo out instead of it fading the way it did. But it actually still pales in comparison to how he took this track and turned it into a really solid cover, you know, by really making it his own. And so, you know, yeah, we've heard that, haven't we? Heard what? Which one? No, I think if you guys heard anything, it definitely would have been my Going to California. The Going to California song is on the Positive Wave Rider channel. I guess maybe somebody, I'm going to continue on here, but if you look it up on the Positive Wave Rider channel, SB, there's a version of that. But I've never released the Pink Floyd one. I'm a little too scared to release that one because that's just almost, you know, that's, I don't know, I'm too nervous to release that. Especially my guitar solo in there. It's like I stuck close to it with Gilmore, but I did add some jazz fringiness to it, so maybe some other time. You know, I'm just saying. Next up is Cat Derpy Dog, or Derpy Cat Dog, I'm sorry. Derpy, are you here, my friend? Good day, Jeebs. Happy Friday. Been really enjoying this song lately. No, I do not know how to pronounce the artist's name. Good. Thank you. And so I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. So the band, though, is the name you can't pronounce, but the name of the song is Awake, Weirdo VIP. I'll copy and paste this, so wait a minute. Here's the name of the band here. I'll put it in the chat. Let's see if you guys can, hi, Derpy. So here's the name of the band right there. So I don't know what that translates to, but let's go ahead and let's listen to the track here. Let's go. All right. Ooh, this is gonna be badass. Oh, trippy. I love that. Oh, is it really? That's badass, Lisa. That's what it feels like, the adrenaline running through my body. Yeah, it's adrenaline. I like how they layered the bell on top of the snare. Bing, 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 bing. talking, hiding in the background. That was a weird synth. Yeah, it had a lot of bottom, Melkor. 1, 2, 3. Style, Ginger? Is this like industrial EDM or industrial jungle or industrial jungle core? Gotcha. Hey, Sweet Salmon, welcome. It's the very first time I've heard that as a genre, hardstyle. But then I take it that hardstyle is directly attributed to electronic. What a track. What I will say is that it was really super repetitive, probably for the reason that, I don't know exactly where we would be listening to this. Is it more club-oriented or festival-oriented or something like that? It feels like it would be like a festival-oriented kind of track, just to get out everybody with their little glow sticks and, sipping on peyote juice and doing heroic doses of MDMA and stuff like that are just tripping out and having a great time. Yeah, very rave-like, very much terpy. I liked it. You know what I liked about it is, funny enough, that cowbell on top of the snare actually was actually pretty cool. It kind of, I don't know that I would have liked the track that much without that cowbell. Even though it was way back in the mix, it took a little bit of the edge off the snappiness of that snare. The rest of the track was colored in with some really darker, darker synth wave. No, maybe that's not a synth wave. It's a whole different thing. Oh God, I get so lost with all these genres and stuff. But I liked how the choices of sounds weren't overbearing. So I really did. This didn't even seem like 6 minutes. I was really actually enjoying it, So that was the Shakadoobies track, if I do say so myself. All right, who do we have now? Hardcore, are you still with us? I know we're late in the stream here. If you are, drop it and say hi. You're up. This will be a compilation of music from what many consider the best part of the game. The Citadel location is split into few sub-areas where each has a unique score. This is genuinely some of the best music in game I've ever heard. And yes, actually, I think, from what I'm understanding, a lot of people, this is probably the second most talked about score from this year outside of Expedition 33, Clair Obscur. Of course, that was groundbreaking, you know, along with a groundbreaking game. So coupling the two together, obviously incredibly well known. But coming in pretty late in the year with this score, it's made a really big impact. I don't know that it may or may not nudge out, you know, Clair Obscur, you know, let's say in the Video Game Awards, you know, with the best OST or anything like that. And plus, I don't know the other genres that are being represented by that. But I got to tell you something. Hollow Knight Silksong has been getting a lot of attention. So this is called The Citadel Music Compilation. And this is Hollow Knight Silksong from Abbacado. Hardcore. Let's check this out. I definitely look forward to listening to this because I'm a huge fan of this composer. Let's go. I love the bells that are in unison with the piano work. Starting to fade out a little bit, but I love that horn that's married in with the vocals here. This goes fantastic with this video, if this is where it's actually playing, because it looks like the bad guys are kind of elitist ballet dancers, you know, while our champion here is trying to dirge him. So very much kind of mirrors a very light, prancy ballet kind of vibe. Brilliant. Being able to elevate some of those classical chops in through this is wonderful. I was going to say Brahms, but that's a nice mix up there with Tchaikovsky. You're right. Stop now. Killed you, bro. You monkey died dead. Ren. I like the toy box vibe right here. It's funny, it looks like they're playing maybe in the inside of a clock. You see the thing in the distance. So maybe that's why the composer chose that little toy box there. Oh, Square Mill, thank you. That makes sense. That clicking noise that I was hearing. So this has kind of those Ori vibes in the gameplay where you got to climb up things and find your way around them and timing. And once again, Square Meal, you're right, you know, keeping within the theme that it has to do with the clock. Having something consistent with the tempo. The addition of the toy piano or the toy bell type vibe to it, it adds a kind of an odd little vibey macabre thing. That is so cool that the bugs or whatever that's trying to slay have this kind of ballet motion to them, and the composer's matching it very well. Yeah, this thing keeps on releasing these little fart bombs. Yeah, Shostakovich, Shostakhovich, that guy. Now I know why everybody's raving about this score. I mean, with Clair-Obscur in this, that raw, authentic musicianship, composition, score sound, piano playing, the whole thing is beyond AAA top tier. Hey, you think you know Kung Fu, you bitch. Whoa. Yeah. Kind of a Scarborough Fair kind of vibe. I don't know why. Our person keeps on getting banged by the bees. Gotta be careful. Beautiful subtle oboe there. Yeah, this is another score that stands on its own. You don't even need gameplay. Like, oboe get that high? Nice reverberance on this, you know, harp arrangement. This is a very mesmerizing piece. Like you're looking for stuff, there was no engagement, you know, with anything there, so the piece was allowed to kind of thrive and just mesmerize. I guess now we're back into battling things, so there's probably gonna be a little more darkness and edginess in here. darker and gloomier because of the background here where the game is happening. Whenever you get those big tube bells in there ringing out, that's like death's doorbells, if you would. I love the high violins following the melody of the choir or the choral voice. Perhaps this music also represents this is maybe a very difficult part of the game as well. Or this particular... Wow, guys, I don't know. This is a tough one, guys. Looks like it's gonna end just now. This is a really super tough call here because, I mean, I'm not here to, you know, guess who's gonna be the better of anything, but, you know, from an experience I had with the video games this year, you know, the standout obviously has been Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for the unique orchestrating of it. I mean, the thing is that what's unique about the Clair Obscur music is that the emphasis, a lot of that was put on the original compositions where you had the live musicians and you had the, you know, the chamber setup of the, you know, the musicians and the vocals and stuff like that. Then the rest of the music, you know, there's so many tracks on there, became a little bit more progressive contemporary in game composition, still weaving in leitmotif and everything. This so far, the Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong, really seems to be really super like composed with this whole vibe of hybrid airiness with orchestratings and stuff like that that are going on that you know, once again, I'm not gonna predict who wins and stuff, but or for that matter, I think Clair Obscur having such an impact musically and game wise and everything since what, June or May? And still being heavily, you know, played and adored and everything. That's a lot of inertia. I just hope that Hollow Knight, this score right here, is as amazeballs to me. That I'm listening to it, you know, and the emotion and everything. And so, but then once again, I'm only listening to tracks, you know, that you folks have been sending me. I think for me, I'd have to play it, but you guys tell me I shouldn't play it because it's a really difficult game. So maybe what I need to do is just sit there and did what I did with Clair Obscur earlier, just listen to the soundtrack, you know, so I don't get frustrated with the game in of itself. I could probably spend a few hours in one section where I probably could have listened to the whole soundtrack in that same few hours in the peacefulness of sitting on my lounge chair kind of thing. But this score I just heard was absolutely amazing. And if I don't know, this is one of those weird things that you say, well, if this gets put into the category of best music for this year, it just because of the fact that Clair Obscur is just so much more well known. Of course, the purists and the fans are going to say I'm an idiot for saying that because they love that music and this may not be the same or as good or anything. Maybe it's one of those things where, you know, I think the game's been released, it's going to get, you know, put into this batch. But if it doesn't and it's for next year, it's going to be probably a shoo-in. It's some beautiful, beautiful arrangement and composition. You know, the gameplay though does remind me a little bit of Ori, like in its platformy-ish bounce, cut, kill, jump from here, don't touch this. If you don't hit the, you know, the thorns and blow up and stuff like that. So You know, if I can't invert the axis, I can't play. You're right. I'm cold busted. What can I say? Wouldn't that be the truth? I don't know. You know what I found, guys? I'm playing this for you. I figure since I've never let it go and I've never put it in a video, and I'm too scared, I figure you guys are kind to me. And so, are you guys ready? I'm going to play you my version of Comfortably Numb. Okay, so here you go. That's bizarre. It's not playing. I don't know why it shouldn't. Maybe it's not supposed to. I wonder why it's not playing. It should. Well, guess what, guys? I was hearing it, and it was playing on the VOD channel, but not on the live channel. Yeah, it could be a Windows 10 thing. Yeah, who knows? All right, maybe it wasn't time for me to play it. Maybe that's telling me I should make a video officially out of it and just pop it up on the Decomposer Lounge, because that's just what it is. Blah, blah, blah. Is it in the Discord? Something like that? No, I wasn't trolling. I've become comfortably... Come on, for God's sakes. I got to get you on a podcast or something. And also for Lisa Wolf, too. I've got to get that going as well. Guys, I'm done. I'm roasted. I was going to try to do some Wheel of Cheese, but the last two songs, as beautiful as they were, I got drained. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me today. I won't be coming in tomorrow or Monday. I'm going to try to be as present as possible before my ex-wife's surgery. Once she's here, she's going to be hanging out here in my lounge chair, living here in my lounge chair for about 2 weeks. So it's going to be touch and go, and I got to take care of her. If you've ever had a shoulder surgery, it's rotator cuff with a reattachment of the bicep, and something else happened up here on her clavicle when she fell. And so I'm going to be, you know, really consumed with that. And obviously I can't do my stream because she'll be right behind me going, you know, if her drugs kick in or kick off. So, you know, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Either way, though, thank you so much for coming in. I will pop these two videos up. Oh, let me stop the hard drive.